All right, guys, I'm back. All right, guys, I'm back. So, we were talking about what we could be seeing. No, I can't. It's Star Wars Celebration is in, I think, the early part of April, right? I can't remember. Somebody might have to jump in and help me with this. I don't really know what day, what weekend it is. It's in Tokyo, and so far they've got some people in there. I don't know why they invited Manny Jacinto, but here we go. All right. Last person I would have show up because the Acolyte wasn't very good. But it looks like they're doing a soft relaunch of Star Wars, maybe. Hi, Cross. Rudy needed me to confirm something for him, so I did whatever. And what does that mean? Well, we'll get scenes. We'll get a sizzle reel from Mando and Grogu. Hopefully, they'll change the name. We'll get a sizzle reel from them, and we'll go into probably some other things, which means, I am kind of looking forward to it, if only because when you get to the point where things are changing, we will see it. We can see it now. Personnel changes at Lucasfilm already. Rain Roberts gone. Max Taylor gone. I predict Lin-Wen Brennan leaves. If she leaves, then we know Kennedy's out the door. All right. Not a lot going on with the story group. Very quiet. I would say a lot of those guys are just, you're going to see, like I said, people either, if they still have contracts, either go to Searchlight, which is still Disney, or if their contracts are up, they're not going to get re-signed. They will go somewhere else. Maybe to Skydance, or maybe not, maybe somewhere else. I know Skydance Animation has John Lasseter there, and he's the guy that did so well with Pixar until the angry Karens went after him over bullshit. Okay, so I'm like going, what is this about? But we see changes. What does it mean for Kennedy? Probably a soft goodbye. We may get to see her at Celebration. I know she's probably in New York right now with her husband. They're doing yet another Broadway thing. It depends. If it's her goodbye, then she may have to be there just to say goodbye. Okay, but I can also see Disney finally saying, Kathy, don't go to Celebration. You don't need to be at Celebration. And they do need to make an announcement. They do need to tell people that she's got to go, that she's leaving. And it does need to be announced in the trades so people can move on from it. Oh, yeah. He probably would. See, that's the thing. I mean, if you've got someone who's as big a troublemaker as Pablo Hidalgo looking for a job, even though I think he's just going to retire. Look, I hate to say this, but I've heard rumors that guy's salary was in the millions. Yeah, not kidding. Okay, that's a rumor. I don't know why anybody would give him that much money, but there you go. And he has said he'll retire before he takes another job. So there you go. I don't know what is happening there. I don't see any of the studios wanting to take those people in. I mean, the story group. Okay. I don't, Well, that was fast, Cross. Poor hot Tim hates white women, even though his women probably smell like pee. Anyway, he's probably Muslim, which is okay, but, he needs to fix his own problems and not bother with us with this. Or he was hired to bother me by somebody, probably a bot farm. Because what is the greatest job you could ever tell a woman you want to date? I work on a bot farm and I troll Americans. I'm sure Prime Minister Modi is probably going to get an earful from President Trump today on that. But this is the world we live in where, I don't know who hired him, but I expect it was probably Pablo. I mean, if you guys remember, I got some really weird text messages on my phone from somebody in New York City. All right, or they said it was. And, this is my warning to Pablo and his little friends. I'm the last woman you want to pick on. You know Tulsi Gabbard? Yeah, I'm like her. Okay. All right. And I know all the laws, including stand your ground. So if I were you, I'd shut the fuck up, leave my job, retire, go to a different job, and not talk about Star Wars again. Okay. Because you lost the fight. Okay. Now here's the thing. The wokesters at Disney are now screaming about Reimagine Tomorrow disappearing. Boo fucking who? Okay? Grow the fuck up. Stop shoving your dysfunctional lifestyle in people's faces and get on with it. All right? No one gives a shit. All right? President Trump, the Treasury Secretary's gay. Rick Reynolds, who's one of his liaison guys that goes out and talks to people, is overlooking the reorganization of the Kennedy Center. He's gay. Okay? Tammy Baldwin's a lesbian. She's the State Department spokeswoman. Fuck off! Okay? And I'll tell you something. In the scheme of how many people like you live in the world, very few of the niche group that you live in want everybody to know everything about them 24 fucking 7. Okay, so shut the fuck up. Oh, look, another Indian bot farm. Okay, guy. So I'm like going, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Okay, these people at Disney, if they can't accept the fact that now they have to work and they have to do the things that make people want to go and watch Disney stuff and go to the parks, which excludes LGBTQ plus shit everywhere. They can't just do their job. Maybe they should go and work for an activist organization like the Human Rights Campaign. Okay. Maybe that's where they belong. Because they don't belong entertaining children. You guys remember the guy in Seville, Danny Seville, or it was somebody can jump in and remind me of the name. Back in 1978 or 76, John Lydon, the lead singer of the Sex Pistols, aka Johnny Rotten, called him out for being a pedophile. It comes out, like in the last few years, that yes, he was a pedophile. Okay, now, I'm going to explain something to the LGBTQ plus weirdos at Disney. Every year in Orange County, the sheriff does a sting, and at least 2 or 3 Disney employees get caught up in it. And it's a kitty, it's a pedophile ring. And they do a sting, and they get a lot of them, and they take them away. Disney's had a problem with that, I think, probably since the get-go. And the reason why is because these people are predators, okay? And when you've got them, think about LaToya Ravenel. Do you want her anywhere near kids' entertainment? Do you really want her anywhere near kids' entertainment after watching the video, okay, of her gaying up every fucking thing she can find? Do you think the parents on that bragging about their pansexual kids and tranny kids should probably have Child Protective Services come in and take the kids away from them? I do. Why? Because you leave the kids alone. Let them have their fucking childhood. Okay? You can't do that when you're too busy being a fucking activist and trying to groom children. Okay? Now, these idiots are pissed off that Disney no longer will tolerate that shit. And it's not just that group of people. It's the racist BLM types, which are part of it too, who, they're the ones that scream about Song of the South till they got it removed. They got Splash Mountain removed. And the problem with them is they don't understand. The guy that did Brer Bear was a black man. All those actors that did the voices were black, okay? Walt Disney gave people opportunities that wouldn't otherwise not have had opportunities, okay? Yet, Song of the South is racist because, God damn it, Colin Kaepernick and the rest of that filth said so. Colin Kaepernick's grades in history were probably D+, okay? He was probably a D+. All right, and I'm not talking about his cup size either. All right, D+ student. So there's that problem. Okay, merit-based hiring, merit-based storytelling, that's the only way to go. That's it. That is the only way to go. Okay, and there's no other, nothing you can do about it. So they're screaming and ranting, and I'm sure Disney's like, fuck you. Go on strike then. Okay. Make sure we know who you are, so when your contracts are up, we don't resign you. Okay. They're troublemakers. Disney can't afford to have troublemakers. This movement wasn't about Trump at all. It was about investors getting pissed off about not making money because of the woke bullshit. That's why. Okay? Had nothing to do with Trump. Okay? And look, this woke DEI shit is trendy. It's now trending down. Que sera, sera. Rub dirt in the wound and walk it off. Okay? That's all you can, that's it. That's all you can do. What else is going on? We've got, when is, Cross, can you check and see what, or Jacob, one of you guys, can one of you guys check and see what date Star Wars Celebration is this year? I think it's like around in the beginning of the month. I'm not sure, because you've got Sidetrack saying Kennedy's leaving Lucasfilm like around the middle of the second quarter. We're in the second quarter. You've got Chris Gore saying that. Nice guy, by the way. Conran saying that. Now you've got 3 different people. And there was a rumor going around. Okay, April 18th to the 20th. Okay, so I'm saying Karen McCarthy trial starts in March. Then we've got Star Wars Celebration coming. I would say that after the depositions, and the story was out there, Hedlund was deposed by McCarthy's team, and I think Kennedy was too. And then they amended their complaint, and the fraud charges could come up to be criminal. What I and if you read the documents, like I have, they've got a pretty damn good case, and there were other people listed. You got Candace Campos and Simon Emanuel, and I mean they're probably the next ones to leave if Simon Emanuel hasn't left already. All right, it's just but if you see Lin-Wen Brennan leave, then you know Kennedy's out. Okay, but I have a feeling more people will be disappearing from this master list as we go on, and more people will be added. We know Derek Hoffman was added, and he replaced Rain Roberts because he's doing basically the same job she did. We have yet to see somebody replace, or no, he replaced Max Taylor. So there you go. But I believe between now and right after or before the trial starts, there will be heavy duty rumbles that Kennedy is leaving, and there will be a press release. Look, they can't just do it quietly and just remove her name, because then everything's. Look, you make it worse when you don't talk about it. Her name just disappears from the leadership list. And, we see Jon Favreau's picture just show up. She has lost any credibility she has, in my opinion. And I think everybody out there in Hollywood thinks so too. They're not going to tell her to her face. They're a bunch of mean girls. They're going to backstab her every chance they get because that's what they do. Okay, look. Passive aggressive behavior is the Hollywood rule, not the exception. Okay, and it's not like it is in DC where someone screws up, it gets everywhere. Sorry. It gets everywhere. So I think there's going to be, it'll start out as a rumor. Matt Bellany, we'll talk about it. He'll probably be one of the first. And then you'll see, Chris Gore start talking about it, or Chris Gore, then Matt. Maybe some people at Deadline will say, we've heard a story out there. Lord Tornaga will get a hold of me and tell me, his friend said, yeah, she's done, leaving XYZ days. That's how it'll start. And then, like sometime late in the evening, Disney will release a press release saying Kathleen Kennedy has retired from Lucasfilm. They won't use the word resign, but then we'll get the story from Sparrow and maybe others saying, yeah, they kicked her out. They fired her. She's gone. Okay. That's what I think is going to happen, but I'm not sure. I'm like, whatever. So we've got that going on. Okay. And then, we've got all kinds of other things that I think really need to be addressed as far as that goes, like personnel, like who are they bringing on? Are they bringing on people with experience who aren't woke? Probably. Again, the feeling on Cameron's Patreon is that they want to fix the films first, which is why, Disney was complaining about deepfake Han, Luke, and Leia. And that's fine. They can do that. Uh, we know that Mando, of all the characters that have come out since the shitty sequels dropped, is probably the only character people really like, except for Grogu. And I love Ahsoka. Kenobi is great. But those are characters people knew. We didn't know Mando, and now we kind of know him. All right, I think a 2.5 hour movie of his adventures would be really great. Okay, and a lot of fun. This is where you start to fix it. Okay, and from what we've heard, they're going to film Ahsoka in 2 parts. One, Peridia, Anakin in the world between worlds, acting as the father. I'm gonna say Ahsoka acting as the daughter, and probably Balin as the son. But whoever was flashing that light up in the sky, and why the great mothers were in such a hurry to get the fuck out of there, says a lot. You got to remember. Let's go back. If you're a newbie and you haven't watched Clone Wars, there's a character called the Son, and at the end of the last episode of Ahsoka, you see Balin Skull standing on the arm of the father. To his left is a monolith built into the cliff of a bald guy. That's the Son. To his right is a very damaged headless statue of what's obviously the daughter. All right. The Force is out of balance. All right, and has been. Anakin in the Clone Wars was told by the father that the father says he's dying and that he needs Anakin to come in because Anakin is the chosen one to come in and take his place. Okay, now remember, George Lucas okayed the storyline. Okay, do not argue with me on that. All right, because those stories, it was the 3rd season of Clone Wars, and George owned Lucasfilm. Anakin at the time refused it. He's married. He's a Jedi. Interesting little line that the Son does with Anakin. You speak of the dark and the light as if they're not dependent on each other. You speak of Jedi and Sith as if that's what the Force really is. And I'm paraphrasing. What you've got here is a jump into the deep lore by Dave Filoni. And as a Star Wars fan, I think you should really like this because the Mortis arc is probably, in all of Clone Wars, probably everybody's favorite. It's my favorite. Because you get to see the exhaust port that Dave Filoni put in there to destroy Kennedy's sequel trilogy. Okay, because, bear with me, when they start filming the second part of Ahsoka, they're going to use it to wipe out the sequel trilogy and to put it into an alternate timeline. Now, I've said this before. I don't think, even though they should, we will see the sequel trilogy be taken off of Disney+. There are just enough retards out there that like it. Okay. And if you want to, do a drinking game, I suppose it's worth putting on while you're with your friends and you can all laugh at it. I don't know. Same thing with the trash light. I do think that Ahsoka, or the Acolyte, will be removed. Just because with the lawsuits and everything, first off, they want it up there just because Now the lawsuit says when Leslie Headland pitched the show to Karen McCarthy, and me and others were right. And it wasn't until like May did Disney grudgingly give Headland the green light to film something. And what they got was atrocious. Okay, all you gotta do is watch the first 10 minutes. And you're just gonna wanna take brain bleach, okay? That's it, okay? It's really that simple, okay? That's why the show is still up. Because I think they would have removed it. But they sure as fuck don't need to make a second season. Okay. All right. And it also explains why Manny Jacinto is going to be at Star Wars Celebration. I mean, they got to pretend that the show was planned from the get-go. Okay. You know, and I'm going to tell you something. I've never been deposed by a lawyer in my life, so bear with me. But I'm sure when you put your hand on the Bible and you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but this truth at the deposition, that you can't lie to the opposing lawyer and say, yes, Disney gave us the green light. Because, you know, maybe they deposed Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek saying, I specifically told Kathy we were not going to make the Acolyte. Now you just perjured yourself, because the former CEO is basically saying, nah, that's not how it happened. All right, and you know, there you go. All right, so they're going to keep it up there to pretend that it was a show, but I think it's going. But again, the sequel trilogy, you know, as long as somebody watches it, they'll leave it up there. But again, it's going to be put happily into otherworld universe, okay? And hopefully, if we're getting Heir to the Empire, that we don't have the Ben Solo storyline. But look, you can have an alternate timeline and have the same characters, but for Rey, because I think in the canon that they're working on now, she doesn't exist. The other way she could exist is if Palpatine somehow survived. No, 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 no. So I mean, that just guts the entire premise of Star Wars right there. And when you're J.J. Abrams and you don't know shit about the franchise, and you're Kathleen Kennedy and don't care, there you go. Anyway, so there's that. It's all right. I've been on here for about a half hour. Yes, I agree. In fact, if we want to do Mara Jade in a way that doesn't piss off George Lucas because he doesn't like the character, and I don't like her for the fact that she used to treat, but that the character treats Luke like shit. She's not a nice person. She's not a good woman. And the only reason why she got popular is because guys have a thing for redheads. What I think she should be is a foundling. And she becomes one of Luke's first Padawans. And then he can just be a Jedi and do his thing, all right? And maybe, you know, actually, you know, if attachments are allowed in some cases, he can find a girl who's not so sharp. No, she doesn't, but I still don't like the idea of him having that relationship. You know, he's supposed to be the Grandmaster Jedi, And, leadership is you set an example. So that have a different character. Make her into a Padawan that, goes out on adventures with Jason and Jaina and does all that. But I could see her being rescued in a terrible thing happens. Han, Luke, and Leia are there in the aftermath, and they discover her hiding in the debris. And, why should he? Why should he? That's the thing, is I don't think he needs that. But they find her hiding in the debris, and she stays with Han and Leia for a little while, and then she moves on to the Practium to be a Jedi. I think that's a great idea. It also brings in the kid factor. You've got our heroes teaching the next generation. Yeah, the character has changed, but the character is something you can use to reach out to the kids. Anyway, look, I gotta go. I'm gonna start dinner. I gotta go to the store, and I gotta start dinner. So you guys have a good afternoon, and I will see you all around the galaxy. There's something going on right now, which is really, really big, and they're just not telling anybody. Steph signing out. See you around the galaxy.